It's 2016, everybody, and we got a lot of big films coming out. We got Batman v Superman, Civil War, Suicide Squad, X-Men Apocalypse, Ninja Turtles 2. Yes, I know Ninja Turtles 2 is not the best film in the world, but that trailer was awesome. And if you guys want to see a review on that trailer, check out in the cards. But, as the title suggests, we are doing something that I have been wanting to do for a little bit now, and seeing how Batman v Superman is only 2 months, or sorry, not 2 months, almost a month away, I feel the need that we need to lay out something, get some air out, and actually do something that a lot of people do nowadays, and that is Marvel versus DC. Which one is better? Now, I honestly do not like doing these debates. I just do not care for them because I like both. I love Marvel and I love DC. But in this situation, we actually have two big films coming out, and they're both fighting films. They both involve two of their biggest, Marvel has Captain America and Iron Man. DC has Batman and Superman. They have two of their biggest superheroes going at each other. So, in this video, we're going to discuss which film could possibly do it better. And that is Civil War versus Batman v Superman. And what you're watching now will be part 1. And part 1 will mostly consist of me talking about how Civil War could possibly be Batman vs Superman. And part 2 will discuss Batman v Superman possibly defeating Civil War. So, with that out of the way, let's get into this. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is basically the one that everybody's talking about, and that is the cast and the setups that they have to do. For those who don't know, Marvel and DC, they all have to set up their next films. Marvel's done it so many times, all the way back to 2008 with the first Iron Man. With DC, on the other hand, they haven't got anything yet. The only movie that they have right now is Man of Steel. So, with Marvel, with Phase 3, going into Phase 3, and Captain America Civil War coming out, they really don't have to set up all that much if you really think about it. I mean, sure they have to set up Infinity War, but the only other things that they really need to set up is Black Panther and Spider-Man. Those are really the only two things, besides Infinity War, that they have to set up. With Batman v Superman, on the other hand, they have to set up everything. They have to set up everything. They have to set up the fight between Batman vs Superman. They have to set up the creation of Doomsday. They have to set up Justice League. They have to set up a lot of things. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, depending on how they do it on film. But it's all right, I guess. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm still super excited for Batman vs Superman, but I'm a little bit sad that they are the ones that pretty much have to shoehorn everything in, and therefore they're the ones they have to set up the entire DC universe. Hopefully, just hopefully, they don't basically, dedicate the whole movie of just setting up other movies. I hope it's just Batman vs Superman with a little bit of sprinkle of what the next couple of films will be. So that's the first thing. The second thing is casting. Like, people that we like. Chris Evans is Captain America. Ben Affleck is Batman. Yeah, Ben Affleck is Batman. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about the characters in Civil War. So, I'll run down just a few because there's a lot of characters. And for all you DC fans out there, Batman vs Superman doesn't get the, Batman vs Superman doesn't get a break when it comes to this because they got a big cast too. But Civil War, they got Captain America, Iron Man, War Machine, Hawkeye, what else do they have? Black Widow, Black Panther, Spider-Man, The Vision. They have all these characters. And now with Batman vs Superman, you have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. There will be Cyborg and Aquaman, but just little cameos of them. Doomsday, Lex Luthor, Alfred, Lois Lane. So they got a lot of characters too. So they're pretty even matched when it comes to with casting. They got a big cast in both films. But the two big ones they really need to talk about is Chris Evans as Captain America and Ben Affleck as Batman. So Chris Evans as Captain America, we've already seen him do a bunch of Marvel films already, and we know how he is. He's a great Captain America. He brought it with Winter Soldier, which I still say is the best Marvel film. Of all the Marvel films out there, Winter Soldier is the best. And that includes Age of Ultron. If you liked it, that's fine. I just thought that it was just too much, and there was way too much CGI, and the plot was too much like the first one. I'm sorry for that little mini rant. That's just, I need to get that out of my system. But yeah, we've seen him so many times, and I think that Chris Evans' Captain America is great, and I think that he's going to do a perfect job in Captain America Civil War. And I'm glad that they clarified that Civil War is going to be more focused on Captain America, hence why the movie's called Captain America Civil War. Go figure. So, I'm happy that he's going to get more screen time. I'm glad it's not just dedicated to the other characters. Now let's talk about Ben Affleck as Batman. We don't really need to talk about Henry Cavill as Superman because we've already seen him on Man of Steel. To sum it up, he's pretty much what I was expecting for Superman in modern day. Now Ben Affleck as Batman. Okay, let's get into some of the things that really tick me off when it comes to talking about Ben Affleck being Batman and why people say that he could possibly suck. The first point, and it's the one that everyone brings up, and that is, oh, he was in Daredevil, which was like 10 years ago. Really, your best argument point is you're going to put a movie that he's been in 10 years ago, a Marvel film, by the way, it's more of a Marvel property, and you're going to basically put him down and criticize him just because of that one film? He's done other things, people. He's done so many great films. He's actually got Oscars for some of his films. Have you seen Gone Girl and what was that other film? Argo and The Town. Have you guys seen those films? He's got awards for those films. So he's living the great life, and I haven't seen a lot of his acting, but I will say with a strong opinion, and this is just me, guys. I just personally want to say this too, and I think that a lot of people will understand it when I get to it. And that is, I think I think Ben Affleck's not going to be the perfect Batman. I think that he's going to be a good Batman, but I don't think he's going to be the most perfect Batman that we ever have. He's going to be the most comic booky Batman that we're ever going to get. And the reasons are this. One, the costume. The costume is really, really comic book influence. And he's going to do all those homages and all those references to The Dark Knight Returns, especially with the grin that he did in the trailer when he was talking to Henry Cavill as Superman, or, Clark Kent. So, I think that Ben Affleck is going to be a good Batman, but he's not going to be the perfect Batman. I think he's going to be a good comic book Batman. But that's not the thing we're supposed to say. Which one do I think is going to be better? I honestly think that Ben Affleck as Batman might do better. However, I've seen Chris Evans work. I've seen him done a lot of Marvel films. So therefore, Chris Evans gets this point. Because I've seen him do a lot of films. I've seen him in all those Marvel films. He's done a great job. He's proven that he's a great Captain America. Ben Affleck, he has a lot of shoes to fill. He has to fill Christian Bale's Batman. He has to please the audience with the comic book, in the comic book world. You have to introduce this new Batman. So a lot of things that Ben Affleck as Batman has to do. And hopefully, just hopefully, it's translated well on film. And the last point that I have to get to, and this is the one that we'll talk about more in Batman v in my part 2, and that is, which one will have the better fight sequences? Civil War might have the better fight sequences because we've seen Marvel done their fight sequences in many other films so many times. And to be all frank, Disney knows how to use their CGI a lot better than Warner Brothers does. Man of Steel is a perfect example of what CGI looks when it is used poorly. That CGI was all over the place, and yeah, don't get me started on how that camera work was too in Man of Steel. It's horrible. But I think Civil War might do better in their action sequences because with their action sequences in Marvel, they're more fluent. But after seeing trailers from Batman vs Superman, They could. I don't know. So, to sum it up, guys, is this. I think that Civil War might do better because I've seen all the Marvel films. We've seen all of them before. We know how they work. With Batman vs. Superman, this is a new thing. This is a brand new thing. It's something that we've never seen before, and it has a lot of shoes to fill, especially from the other DC films. They have to do better. I'm going to say it. They have to do better than the Dark Knight trilogy. They just have to. Or else the Dark Knight trilogy is probably going to be the only DC films that will ever be good. If Batman vs. Superman doesn't do great, the Dark Knight trilogy is probably the only great DC films that we're ever going to get. So, that is it for my debate for why Civil War might be better. In my next one, in part 2, we'll discuss why Batman vs. Superman has to be better and why it might defeat Civil War. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you soon.